Hare Krishna. Somebody can please lead the invocation prayers.
Prabhu, may I try?
Go ahead, Chandran Prabhu.
Om Anyana Timrandasya Yananjana Salakaya Chaksu Rumilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabhadantigam Vande Ham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Pata Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagrajam Saha Gana Raghunathan Vitam Tamsa Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Saha Gana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhi Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Ivacha Patinam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. So today we will cover Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 8, verses 10 to 33, and we'll finish this Chapter 8 as well as we'll finish this Unit 9. Today's discussion is a shorter and an easier paced discussion. Today's verses are pretty straightforward verses. It's just that last class I didn't want to stretch too much, and that's why I split it into two smaller classes. And towards the end, we'll discuss the options for the unit presentation. I understand we have different situations for everyone. But before that, a quick announcement that for batch 5 devotees, few devotees have joined in between. So we are planning to have a catch-up class for those who have joined partway. So those who are interested can, or if you know someone, you can let me know. So we'll be getting them caught up in a brief manner rather than going through in depth. So it's just trying to get them caught up. So let's start with you all explaining one or more points and asking one or more questions.
Prabhuji, last time you asked, as for the homework, trace the narrative of Srimad Bhagavatam for Lord Sankarishna to Maitreya Muni. So I have jotted down based on my realization. First of all, I wish to explain who is Sankarishna. Or primitive forms of Vishnu or Sankarishna, Vaideva, Vasudeva, Pradivamana, Anuruddha. Sankrishna expands as Garbhodakshara Vishnu at the bottom of the universe. So Sankrishna first speaks to sage Sanat Kumara. From Sanat Kumara, Sankhya Muni to spiritual masters Parasna and Brahaspati, they were present. From them, Maitreya Muni and Maitreya Muni to Vidura. Here, it is based on my realization. I explain that one hears from proper authority And the most important aspects of this, of devotional service of hearing and chanting, then only one can preach Vedic knowledge. So, Srimad Bhagavatam was narrated from time immemorial, so long ago. This is the way the Parambara succession, disciplic succession takes place. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so correct point. Just want to correct one thing, that Garbhodakshay Vishnu does not come from Sankarshan. So if you recall, I have shown a visual multiple times that from Krishna comes Balram, from Balram comes the first quadruple expansion of first Vasudev, first Sankarshan, first Anirudh, and first Pradyumna. From that first Sankarshan, then comes Lord Narayan. From Lord Narayan comes the second quadruple expansion, where you have the second Sankarshan also. And from the second Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu. From Mahavishnu comes Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And from Garbhodakshay Vishnu comes the Paramatma. So yes, your point is correct, that how from Sankarshan it came, or the Srimad Bhagavatam came all the way to Maitreya Muni. Is the only correction I want to make is that Garbhodakshay Vishnu did not directly come from Sankarshan. There are in between other personalities who came through. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I am updated. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Continue, rest of you.
I have to ask one clarification. After
Yeah.
everybody talks, I will ask. Thank you.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I can just add one point which we had, done. That is Vidura, how humble he is. In spite of being so elevated and pure devotee, he's being so humble and showing how one should behave in front of a spiritual master. You have to just be like a fool. And he says, like, since I'm ignorant because of Maya, please explain to me. So the main purpose is to know the principle of devotional service. Prabhu.
Yeah, very good. The very, very important point. The main purpose is to know the principles of devotional service and to practice, not just in theory. So when we do services, it's not to accomplish a task. The purpose of services is whether we are developing these qualities. Very good. What else? Somebody else? Inquiries?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hearing and chanting are very important, and hearing very, with rapt attention is very, very important in any spiritual progress.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaran, 7.5.23. That hearing is the process, and Krishna has said this in 7.1 as well, Tachrunu, as well as there are many Bhagavatam verses. 1.2.16 to 22 explains the same point, that hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from authorized spiritual masters is the process. The other processes are also there, there are 9 processes. Hearing is the easiest and most appropriate in Kali. Very good.
One more thing, Prabhu, it should be from a proper authority. Then otherwise you cannot teach the Vedic knowledge.
Yeah, very good. You have to hear from authorized sources, otherwise it's like milk touched by snake. It's poisonous, it's going to harm you. Okay, very good. Inquiries, Uncle at inquiries.
Prabhuji, I'm a little confused with this point, so I thought I will get it clarified. The text 9, the great sage Parasara, as aforementioned, being so advised by the great sage Pulastya, spoke unto me the foremost of the Puranas. I shall also describe this before you, my dear son, in terms of my hearing because you are always my faithful follower. So this great sage, Pulastya, comes in between. I didn't see anywhere. Would you please elaborate for my better understanding?
So what exactly is your question? So it's just the series of personalities speaking, but what exactly is your question?
The sequence, when we are reading out from Sankhya and Muni, spiritual masters, Parasana, in between this Pulastya sage comes. So where in between I have missed, I don't know. I thought you would like to. The role of Pulastya.
Yeah. So let me read again verse 9 and we'll understand. Yeah, so Pulastya spoke to Parashar to explain the Bhagavatam to Maitreya Muni. That's all it is. So it's just that he's a great sage. So Parashar has already heard Srimad Bhagavatam, and this great sage Pulastya is asking Parashar, okay, now pass it on to Maitreya Muni also. That's all it is.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And if you read the purport for verse number 9, it has a little more detail that how Pulatsaya is asking Parasar and who Pulatsaya is. But I mean, it doesn't come into the picture except asking Parasar to speak to Maitreya Muni.
Got it.
Rest of you? Okay. So you had another homework question also.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. You had asked about at what point does Sri Prabhupada establish on the basis of the above disciplic succession, Prabhu. So Srimad Bhagavatam is being narrated from time immemorial by disciplic succession, Prabhu, even before Vyasadev's time. So this is not the only disciplic succession, Prabhu. It's been multiple times. It's been spoken.
Okay. Somebody else? What else? The correct point, the point Prabhupada is trying to make is that this is the way of parampara system. Unless one hears from proper authority, one cannot become a preacher. Mother Chandranti did point these points. So Srimad Bhagavatam was being narrated from time immemorial by disciplic succession, even before the time of Vyasadeva. So the so-called historians calculate Puranas to be only few hundred years old. But actually, Puranas existed from time immemorial before all historical calculations by mundaners and speculative philosophers. So Shalini and Mother Chandranti did have the correct points for this also. Okay, so we'll now continue with our discussion today for Canto 3, Chapter 8, verse 10 onwards. So just a context or a recap. So Chapter 8 is a shorter chapter and is titled Manifestation of Brahmaji from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Maitreya Muni describes the disciplic succession of Srimad Bhagavatam that how Maitreya Muni received Srimad Bhagavatam, that Lord Sankarshan spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to Sanat Kumara to Sankhya Muni, Sankhya Muni to Parashar, and Brahaspati was also present, and Parashar to Maitreya Muni. So Brahmaji, when he took birth, he could not find anything. And he heard tapa, tapa, tapa. So Brahmaji, by hearing tapa, 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 he started meditation. And Brahmaji shows by his personal example that by personal endeavor, one cannot understand the Lord. Only by bhakti and by mercy of the Lord, one can understand and see the Lord. Verses 10 onwards is part 2. Part 2 is verses 10 to 14. Title is The Reawakening of Creation. The summary of these verses 10 to 14 is that when full dissolution or annihilation of the universe happens at the end of the life of Brahmaji, the material energy is completely wound up. Versus when partial dissolution or partial annihilation happens at the end of Brahmaji's each day. At this partial annihilation time, only the gross bodies of the jivas become unmanifest, while jivas' subtle bodies and their karma merge within the body of Vishnu. And upon next day of Brahmaji, the jivas become reawakened with the glance of the Lord. Again, as I mentioned, all the verses are pretty straightforward. Is our dear Aditi able to read verse number 10 and 11 translations? Again, straightforward.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Okay.
At that time, when the three worlds were submerged in water, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu was alone, lying in his bedstead, the great snake Ananta. And although he appeared to be in slumber in his own internal potency, free from the action of his external energy, his eyes were not completely closed. Hare Krishna.
11 also.
Just like the strength of fire within fuel wood, the Lord remained within the water of dissolution, submerging all the living entities in their subtle bodies. He lay in the invigorated energy called Kala.
So Garbhodakshai Vishnu lay on the bed of Anantashesh. As this is a partial dissolution at the end of Brahmaji's day, only gross bodies of Jiva are destroyed. Subtle bodies are merged in Vishnu's womb. At the start of next day of Brahma, Lord glances and Jiva wakes up again, and Lord gives remembrance to the Jiva of what desires the Jiva had before. And that's how the Jiva continues. Radha Shakti, verses 12, 13, 14 translations.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, verse number 12. The Lord laid down for 4,000 yuga cycles in his internal potency, and by his external energy, he appeared to be sleeping within the water. When the living entities were coming out for further development of their fruitive activities, actuated by the energy called Kala Shakti, he saw his transcendental body as bluish. Number 13. The subtle subject matter of creation on which the Lord's attention was fixed was agitated by the material mood of passion, and thus the subtle form of creation burst through his abdomen. Number 14. Passing through this sum total form of the fruitive activity of the living entities took the shape of a bud of a lotus flower generated from the personality of Vishnu, and by his supreme will it illuminated everything like the sun and dried up the vast waters of devastation.
Again, a straightforward verses that Garbhodakshai Vishnu lay for 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas, which is equal to the 12-hour night of Brahmaji. And Lord's transcendental body is bluish. Lord's Kala Shakti and Maya Shakti dictates Jiva to work in fruitive work. So the conditioned souls, they forget their own desires. In order to remember their previous fruitive desire, Lord's help is required because Jiva is sleeping for a very long time in Vishnu's womb. So if the Lord's help is required to remember our own desires, then what to speak about knowing the Lord? We cannot know the Lord without Lord's help. Questions, comments, realizations?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I had one question, although you've explained it before, but just wanted to understand, when does this full annihilation happen and partial proof?
Partial annihilation happens after every day of Brahma ends. So you can split, it's described in Bhagavad Gita 8.17. 12-hour day of Brahmaji equals to 4.3 billion Earth years, and 12-hour night is also so long. When that 12-hour night happens of Brahmaji every day, that's when partial annihilation happens. That the entire universe is covered with water except Brahmaloka. And when the day starts, then creation happens again. And that's what is described that we read in the verses. The 14th verse, we describe that the Lord's supreme will illuminated everything like the sun and dried up the vast waters of devastation. So what is this vast water? Because the whole universe is covered with water except the Brahmaloka, the topmost planet. And the full annihilation, meaning the entire material creation, is annihilated at the end of life of Brahmaji, which is 100 years, which equals to Earth years about 311 trillion, 40 billion, plus minus few million years. That long how it is. Shalini?
Yes, Prabhu, got it. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Part 3 is verses 15 to 23. Title is Brahmaji's birth and his search for the absolute truth. Gopal Prabhu, verse 15 and 16 translations.
Krishna, 15 translation. Into that universal lotus flower, Lord Vishnu personally entered as the super soul, and when it was thus impregnated with all the modes of material nature, the personality of Vedic wisdom, whom we call the self-born, was generated. Text 16. Brahma, born out of the lotus flower, could not see the world, although he was situated in the world. He therefore circumambulated all of space, and while moving his eyes in all directions, he achieved 4 heads in terms of the 4 directions. Hare Krishna.
So Brahmaji is also called Swayambhu. Swayambhu means self-born. It's there in verse number one of these 2 verses. So when Brahmaji is born, creation has not yet happened. Sun is still not there. Therefore, everywhere there was darkness. And Brahmaji is thinking, where did I come from? He says, I can see the lotus, but where is the origin of the lotus? And while Brahmaji was moving his eyes in all directions to see, hence his 4 heads got manifested. For managing this universe, which is the smallest of all universes, 4 heads of Brahmaji are enough. So we have discussed before, and I've shown you a visual also, that other universes are bigger in terms of complexity. Therefore, there are Brahmajis with 100 heads, 1,000 heads, million heads, just because the complexity of the universe is that big. We have discussed about our universe being small in just few chapters back, where the Lord sat down behind, not behind, but with at the back was a young banyan tree. That represents our universe as a youngest and the smallest universe. Shalini, verse 17, translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Text 17, translation. Lord Brahma, situated at that lotus, could not perfectly understand the creation, the lotus or himself. At the end of the millennium, the air of devastation began to move the water and the lotus in great circular waves. Purport. Lord Brahma was perplexed about his creation, the lotus and the world, even though he tried to understand them for 1 millennium, which is beyond calculation in the solar years of human beings. No one, therefore, can know the mystery of the creation and cosmic manifestation simply by mental speculation. The human being is so limited in his capacity that without the help of the Supreme, he can hardly understand the mystery of the will of the Lord in terms of creation, continuance, and destruction.
So Brahmaji could not perfectly understand the creation, the lotus flower, or himself. So Brahmaji's bewilderment about creation reveals 2 points. First, it is very difficult to understand the mystery of creation by mental speculation. Second, that Brahmaji's power to create is not his own, but comes from the Lord. I mean, we have discussed this point right from start, 1.1.1 verse, that Brahmaji does not create, the Lord creates. Brahmaji is only assembling what the Lord has already created. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes here, a very important point, that every day Brahmaji forgets. Brahmaji wants to show that power of creation does not come from him, but the power of creation comes from the Lord. This is the symptom of a devotee, to be completely dependent on the Lord. If one is relying on his own endeavor, then he is not a devotee. So Brahmaji has already done creation before, but when he's going to sleep, all this annihilation happens and he wakes up and He does not remember anything. And he again needs Lord's help. Questions, comments, realizations? Uncle verses 18, 19, translations and purports.
Hare Krishna. Verses 18. Lord Brahma, in his ignorance, contemplated, who am I that I am situated on the top of this lotus? Wherefrom has it sprouted? There must be something downwards, and that from which this lotus has grown must be within the water. You want me to read immediately purport?
Yeah, purports and next verse.
The subject matter of the speculations of Brahma in the beginning regarding the creation of the cosmic manifestation is still a subject matter for mental speculators. The most intelligent man is he who tries to find the cause of his personal existence and that of the whole cosmic creation, and thus tries to find the ultimate cause. If his attempt is properly executed with penances and perseverance, it is sure to be crowned with success. Text 19. Lord Brahma, thus contemplating, entered the water through the channel of the stem of the lotus. But in spite of entering the stem and going nearer to the navel of Vishnu, he could not trace out the root. Purport. By dint of one's personal endeavor, one may go nearer to the Lord. But without the Lord's mercy, one cannot reach the ultimate point. Such understanding of the Lord is possible only by devotional service, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Bhaktiya mam avijananti yavan hayasmi kasmi tattvata. Verse number
Okay, hold on.
20.
So verses 18, 19, Brahmaji clearly describes that personal endeavors are not sufficient for success. One needs the Lord's mercy and sanction. Brahmaji is using his intelligence. That lotus grows in water, so let me go and find the origin. By mental speculation, one cannot understand the Lord. If Lord reveals himself, only then one can understand the Lord. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport we just read that by mental speculation, one cannot understand the Lord. Only by bhakti, one can understand. And therefore Prabhupada quotes 18.55 Bhagavad Gita verse. Kalyani or Sridhar Prabhu, verses 20 and 21, translation and purports.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Kalyani would read on my behalf. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Yep.
Translation and purport. O Vidura, while searching in that way about his existence, Brahma reached his ultimate time, which is the eternal wheel in the hand of Vishnu, and which generates fear in the mind of the living entity like the fear of death. Text 21. Thereafter, being unable to achieve the desired destination, he retired from searching and came back again to the top of the lotus. Thus, controlling all objectives, he concentrated his mind on the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Read the purport, Kalyani.
Okay. 21, Prabhuji? Okay.
Yes.
Text 20 or 21, Prabhuji?
21 purport.
Text 21 purport. Samadhi involves concentrating the mind upon the supreme cause of all, even if one is unaware of whether his actual nature is personal, impersonal, or localized. Concentration of the mind on supreme is certainly a form of devotional service. To cease from personal sense
endeavors and to concentrate on the supreme cause is a sign of self-surrender. And when self-surrender is present, that is a sure sign of devotional service. Each and every living entity needs to engage in devotional service to the Lord if he wishes to understand the ultimate cause of his existence. Hare Krishna.
So Brahmaji is giving up his personal endeavor and taking up meditation on the Lord. And this is a sign of his self-surrender. We have discussed in Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 as well as in Sri Upanishad that there are two systems of getting knowledge. First is inductive method, means getting knowledge by our own research. This is faulty method. The second is deductive method, is top-down approach, meaning follow parampara to get knowledge instead of own endeavor. And getting knowledge through parampara, which is the deductive method, so the top-down approach is the Shabda method, which is the correct method of getting knowledge. Mother Jija, verses 22 and 23, translations and purport.
Text 22, translation. At the end of Brahma, one day, 100 years, when his meditation was complete, he developed the required knowledge, and as a result, he could see in his heart the Supreme within himself, whom he could not see before with the greatest effort. The Supreme Lord can be attained only through the process of devotional service and not by one personal endeavor in mental speculation. The age of Brahma is calculated in terms of Divya years, which are distinct from the solar years of the human beings. The Divya years are calculated in
Okay, Mother Jija got disconnected. She's trying to get connected again. We'll give her a minute. Mother Jija, unmute and read the purport again.
purport. The Supreme Lord can be experienced only through the process of devotional service and not by one's personal endeavor in mental speculation. The age of Brahma is calculated in terms of Divya years, which are distinct from the solar years of human beings. The Divya years are calculated in Bhagavad Gita 8.17, Sahasara Yuga Paryatam Aharyad Brahmano Vidho. Brahma's one day is equal to 1,000 times the aggregate of the 4 yugas calculated by 4,300,000 years. On that basis, Brahma meditated for 100 years before he could understand the supreme cause of all causes, and then he wrote the Brahma Samhita, which is approved and recognized by Lord Chaitanya, and in which he sings Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. One has to wait for the mercy of the Lord before one can either render service unto him or know him as he is. Text 23. Brahma could see that on the water there was a gigantic lotus-like white bedstead, the body of Sesha Naga, on which the personality of Godhead was lying alone. The whole atmosphere was illuminated by the rays of the jewels bedecking the hood of Sheshanaga, and that illumination dissipated dissipated all the darkness of those regions. Hare
Mm.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we welcome Shalu. So Shalu, we are on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 8, and we just read verse number 23. So welcome, and please feel free to ask any and all questions, even though you are joining partway through. So we just read that finally Brahmaji could see Lord Garbhodakshai Vishnu. The verses and the translation purports that we read are pretty straightforward. Any questions, comments, realizations before we read the last set of verses? Okay. So from verse 24 is part 4 of this chapter. Part 4 is verses 24 to 33. Title is Beautiful Darshan of Lord Garbhodakshai Vishnu. All these verses are again pretty straightforward verses. We have read these at least someplace before. Plus, when we take darshan, we anyway know all this. So you will realize that the way pujaris decorate or dress Shri Radha Krishna is not by themselves. Whatever is described in Srimad Bhagavatam is how Gopinath is dressed. And we'll see that these verses describe the beautiful features of the Lord. Throughout Srimad Bhagavatam, the description of the Lord are same or similar because the description is about the same Lord. For example, Dhruv Maharaj saw the Lord, Shiva saw the Lord, Prithu Maharaj saw the Lord, and they are all describing the Lord, and you will see that how here Brahmaji is describing, it's very much similar to how these other personalities are describing about the Lord. So we'll read verse number 24 translation, and there are 4 things mentioned in this verse. Chandran Prabhu, verse 24 translation.
Hare Krishna. Verse number 24, translation. The luster of the transcendental body of the Lord mocked the beauty of the coral mountain. The coral mountain is very beautifully dressed by the evening sky, but the yellow dress of the Lord mocked its beauty. There is gold on the summit of the mountain, but the Lord's helmet, bedecked with jewels, mocked it. The mountains, waterfalls, herbs, etc., with a panorama of flowers, seem like garlands. But the Lord's gigantic body and his hands and legs, decorated with jewels, pearls, tulasi leaves, and flower garlands, mark the scene on the mountains. Hare Krishna. Purport, can I read?
Yeah, read it.
Purport. The panoramic beauty of nature, which strikes one with wonder, may be taken as a perverted reflection of the transcendental body of the Lord. One who is therefore attracted by the beauty of the Lord is no longer attracted by the beauty of material nature, although he does not minimize its beauty. In Bhagavad Gita 2.59, it is described that one who is attracted by Param, the Supreme, is no longer attracted by anything inferior. Hare Krishna.
So when you read the purport, it's something similar we have read in Nectar of Devotion. You read Nectar of Devotion, chapter 13, paragraph 1 and 2 describe something similar. And in Nectar of Devotion, it's described in a sarcastic way that if you are attracted to material things, then don't look at the beauty of the Lord. So it's just describing in a sarcastic way that if you want to remove your material attachment, then get attached to the attractive form of the Lord. In this verse number 24, you can make 2 columns and how things are compared side by side. On the left side, you can say feature of the Lord's body. And on the right side, you can say mocked the beauty of, and I'll give you 4 points that are described in this verse. First is the feature of the Lord's body is that bodily luster. And the mock the beauty of coral mountain. So in the material world, many are attracted to, say, these huge mountains. So all these 4 points where it says mocked by the beauty of is referring to the material world attraction that many are attracted to. And that's the comparison being made here. So first is bodily luster and mocked by the beauty of coral mountain. Second is yellowish garments, mock the beauty of the evening sky. Third is helmet bedecked with jewels, mock the beauty of golden summit of the mountain. And the fourth is limbs with ornaments, tulsi and garlands, mock the beauty of mountain with waterfalls, herbs, etc. So again, you can imagine that when you go to some place to visit where there's mountain and waterfalls, we are kind of attracted to that. But when you look at the limbs of the Lord with ornaments, tulsi, garland, etc. decoration, then all these waterfalls, mountain, etc. They seem irrelevant to us. Questions, comments, realizations? Everybody was following what I was describing, the comparison?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, this really helps. The comparison really helps. But I was just thinking, like, Vibhuti Yoga, like for me personally, if to reach this level, so to connect everything beautiful, I try to connect with the Lord, Prabhu.
Yeah, very good. So Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, we have discussed a lot of practical points of Vibhuti Yoga, that how to see the connection to the Lord of everything that we are attracted to the material world. And this is just another example that we just read. So Shalini is describing very nicely that how Shalini is practicing what we have discussed in Bhagavad Gita, the practice of Vibhuti Yoga on a day-to-day basis. So we have discussed in Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga chapter, that by default, it's like I cannot remember Krishna. And when you apply the Vibhuti Yoga chapter, the way Krishna has described how to remember Krishna 24 hours, the statement I cannot remember Krishna turns upside down. I cannot forget Krishna, because you can see Krishna 24 hours around you. So very good practice by Shalini. Thank you for sharing. Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji, once again, I would request you to, you are a little, I was slow in noting down the creation of the Lord, that divisions. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Would you please repeat?
You mean the 4 comparisons here?
Yes, please.
Okay, very good. So I'll explain. So left side, you write down features of the Lord's body. And on the right side, you can write down mocked the beauty of what? First is feature of the body is bodily luster, and mocked the beauty of coral mountain. Second is feature of the body, Lord's body is yellowish garments, mocked the beauty of evening sky. Third is helmet bedecked with jewels, mocked the beauty of golden summit of a mountain. Fourth, limbs decorated with ornaments, tulsi, garlands, mocked the beauty of mountain with waterfalls, herbs, etc.
Thank you.
Okay. Shalu, are you able to read verse 25 and 26 translations?
Hello?
Hare Krishna, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Yes, I'm reading uh, as you are speaking.
Yeah, read loud for all of us.
It's a little difficult for me. I'll do it from next time, please.
Okay, all right,
Yes.
that's okay. Mother Chandra Aunty, verse 25, 26 translation.
Sorry, hello?
Hare
Yeah, that's okay,
Krishna.
Shalu. We'll get you to read next time. Right now, Mother Chandra Aunty will read.
All right.
Hare Krishna. Text 25. His his transcendental body, unlimited in length and breadth, occupied the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower. His body was self-illuminated by unparalleled dress and variegatedness, and was properly ornamented. Text 26. The Lord showed his lotus feet by raising them. His lotus feet are the sources of all awards achieved by devotional service, free from material contamination. Such awards are for those who worship him in pure devotion. The splendor of the transcendental rays from his moon-like toenails and fingernails appeared like the petal of a flower. Hare Krishna.
So verses are pretty straightforward. It's just Brahmaji is describing what he's seeing. The verse 26 talks about the toenail. Next time you go to take darshan of the Lord, take a look at the toenail of the Lord. And it will look exactly what Srimad Bhagavatam describes, like the petal of a flower. So try it next time you go to take darshan, and you will visualize very much similar to what Brahmaji is describing in these verses. Okay, I think everybody has read. Radha Shakti, verses 27, 28 translations. Again, they are pretty straightforward verses.
Verse number 27, translation. He also acknowledged the service of the devotees and vanquished their distress by his beautiful smile. The reflection of his face decorated with earrings was so pleasing because it dazzled with the rays from his lips and the beauty of his nose and eyebrows. Text 28. Oh, my dear Vidura, the Lord's waist was covered with yellow cloth resembling the saffron dust of the Kadamba flower, and it was encircled by a well-decorated belt. His chest was decorated with Srivastava marking and a necklace of unlimited value.
We'll read verse 27 purport shortly, that devotees whole day do hard work to please the Lord, and end of the day, devotees get darshan of the beautiful smile and the devotees become happy just by taking darshan of the beautiful smiling Lord. Devotees think that their service got recognized. Hence, Lord is smiling. Radha Shakti, read 27 purport.
The devotional purpose, the devotional service to the Lord is very much obliging to him. There are many transcendentalists in different fields of spiritual activities, but devotional service to the Lord is unique. Devotees do not ask anything from the Lord in exchange for their service. Even the most desirable liberation is refused by devotees. although offered by the Lord. Thus, the Lord becomes a kind of debtor to the devotees, and he can only try to repay the devotees' service with his ever enchanting smile. The devotees are ever satisfied by the smiling face of the Lord, and they become enlivened. And by seeing the devotees so enlivened, the Lord himself is further satisfied. So there is continuous transcendental competition between the Lord and his devotees by such reciprocation of service and acknowledgement.
Okay, very good. So this smiling, many of you have also noticed that when you go for services and go take darshan. Verses 29 and 30 again have that comparison. So for 29 also you can make a chart. On the left side is you can write Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and on the right side you can write sandalwood tree. So in verse number 29, Lord is compared to the sandalwood tree, that his fame perfumes the whole universe. Sridhar Prabhu, verse 29 translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, which
Yeah,
was the
29.
Yeah, verse 29. As a sandalwood tree is decorated with fragrant flowers and branches, the Lord's body was decorated with valuable jewels and pearls. He was the self-situated tree, the Lord of all others in the universe. And as sandalwood tree is covered with many snakes, so the Lord's body was also covered by the hoods of Ananta.
So again, 4 comparisons are done here. First is, if you write on the left side for Garbhodakshay Vishnu, first point is valuable jewels and pearls on his arms. And on the right side for sandalwood tree, comparison is fragrant flowers and branches. Second is Lord is original of all others in the universe. And on the right side for sandalwood, you can write self-situated tree, roots cannot be seen. Third is Lord is protector of whole world. In comparison, you can write sandalwood tree is king of all trees. Fourth point is Lord covered by many hoods of Anantashesh. Sandalwood tree covered by many snakes. Everybody on the same page? So verse number 30 also has this similar comparison, that Lord is compared to a great mountain. Gopal Prabhu, verse 30 translation.
Hare Krishna, verse 30 translation. Like a great mountain, the Lord stands as the abode for all moving and non-moving living entities. He is the friend of the snakes because Lord Ananta is his friend. As a mountain has thousands of golden peaks, so the Lord was seen with the thousands of golden helmeted hoods of Anantanaga. And as a mountain is sometimes filled with jewels, so also his transcendental body was fully decorated with valuable jewels. As a mountain is sometimes submerged in the ocean water, so the Lord is sometimes submerged in the water of devastation. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so you can again make 2 columns. On the left side is Garbhodakshay Vishnu, And on the right side, you can write great mountain. And I'll give you 5 points of comparison given in this verse number 30. First is, Lord is shelter of all moving and non-moving entities. And in comparison, great mountain is shelter of all creatures in it. Second, Lord Ananta is Lord's friend. And comparison, great mountain is friend of all snakes. Third, thousands of golden helmeted hoods of Ananta. And great mountain has thousands of golden peaks. Fourth comparison, decorated with valuable jewels. So Lord is decorated with valuable jewels. In comparison, great mountain is filled with jewels. Fifth point, Lord is sometimes submerged in water of devastation. Comparison, great mountain is sometimes submerged in the ocean. Everybody got the points?
Yes, please.
Okay, last 3 verses for this chapter are pretty straightforward. Mother Jija, if you want to read verse 31 to 33, translations and purport.
Text 31. Lord Brahma, thus looking upon the Lord in the shape of a mountain, concluded that he was Hari, the personality of Godhead. He saw that the garland of flowers on his chest glorified him with Vedic wisdom in sweet songs and looked very beautiful. He was protected by the Sudarshana wheel for fighting, and even the sun, moon, air, fire, etc. could not have success to him. Text 32, translation. When Lord Brahma, the maker of the universal destination, thus saw the Lord, he simultaneously glanced over creation. Lord Brahma saw the lake in Lord Vishnu's navel and the lotus flower, as well as the devastating water, the drying air, and the sky. All became visible to him. Text 33, translation. Lord Brahma, thus being surcharged with the mode of passion, being inclined to create, and after seeing the 5 causes of creation indicated by personality of Godhead, he began to offer his respectful prayers on the path of the creative mentality. Hare Krishna.
Purport, read the purport.
Purport. Even if one is in the material mode of passion to create something in the world, he has to take shelter of the Supreme for the necessary energy. That is the path of successful termination of any attempt. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the 3rd canto, 8th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled enlightened manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very good. Questions, comments, realizations, pretty straightforward that as long as one is personally endeavoring, nothing happens. But when one turns to the Lord, everything starts happening. So we have ended our this chapter 8. Last class, there was an inquiry from Shalini about who are born from perspiration. So I will bring up on screen Srimad Bhagavatam 8.5.21. Shalini, if you want to read the translation, and I will point to the word for word.
Hare Krishna. Lord Brahma said, I, Lord Shiva, all of your demigods, the demons, the living entities born of perspiration, the living beings born of eggs, the trees and plants sprouting from the earth, and the living entities born from embryos, all come from the Supreme Lord, from his incarnation of Rajaguna, Lord Brahma, the Guna Avatara, and from the great sages, rishis, who are part of me. Let us therefore go to the Supreme Lord and take shelter of his lotus feet.
So if you read word for word translation, which I have highlighted on screen, which refers to those who are born from perspiration, it's pretty straightforward. Shalini?
Garma Jataya, as well as the insects and germs born of perspiration. Yes.
So from perspiration, these tiny insects, bacteria, fleas, all these are born from perspiration. Shalini, does that answer your question from last class?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Questions, comments, realizations? Okay.
Prabhu, sorry, just one question, Prabhu. Which verse did you ask where the answer is, Prabhu?
8.5.21.
Thank you.
So for the presentation of this unit number 9, I understand not everyone is available. So I request all of you to collectively decide from the various options what option works best for you. An option is that we skip doing presentation for this unit number 9. Another option is that devotees can record their respective presentations if they cannot attend the class on coming Sunday, 4th of February. Another option is that Shalini, Radha Shakti, and Chandran Prabhus, who are available to do presentations, they can do additional presentations. So you all can collectively decide what is your preference, and you can message or discuss with Shalini or among yourselves, and let me know, and I will serve you accordingly. So if we decide not to do the presentations for this unit number 9, then next class onwards, we'll continue with the next chapter, which is chapter number 9. Everybody on the same page? Everybody can do this offline conversation? I mean, you can have the conversation now, but whichever way works for you.
We'll coordinate offline, Prabhu. Is that okay?
Yeah, that is perfect. So that's perfect. So let me give you homework question. One homework question. What does Lord Brahmaji's perplexity about his circumstances indicate? Comes from verse number 17 and 19. After the presentation, whether we do it or not, the next is that read Canto 3, Chapter 9, and we'll continue from that one. The last announcement, so which I made at the start, I'll repeat that announcement, that for batch 5 Bhagavad Gita devotees, I'm planning to do a catch-up class for those who have joined partway through to get them caught up in a brief manner. So if you know anyone new, please let me know and please let them know to take advantage of getting caught up on Bhagavad Gita in a short manner so that they can continue on from wherever batch 5 is.
When is it, Prabhuji, the date?
For what?
The catch-up class?
So the catch-up class, the way I'm doing it, that I'm going to get them to listen to the class recordings, not all of them, just important milestone classes, and Shalini will then have a discussion with them to fill the gaps. So they're going to listen to an overview of each chapters and then a summary, and then they will connect as and when time permits. So it hasn't set in terms, but they are going to listen to the class recording. It's just that by having this system in place, it will force them to listen and follow a systematic process, just as we have discussed that Varnashram system is a system design, so you can progress just as in a university. If you want to become a doctor or any profession, there is a systematic process. That's all I'm trying to do with a systematic process to get them caught up. Uncle?
Thank you.
Okay, as I said, will be a shorter class, so we can end here unless you have any more questions. Anybody has any questions? We can use the time for that. Okay, are we okay to stop here?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
Thank
Yes,
you.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.